Hey, what's up guys, Mashine here, come back with a brand new video for you guys. Today we're going to be talking generally about the market and on a few big things I want to talk about. Let's hop on into it. First up, I want to talk about the impact of the Antwerp sale and the summer sale coming together at one time. Now, it's not very hard to see that there is a significant amount of things down all across the board, the biggest being cases. The breakout case, the clutch case, and the glove case are the three biggest that most people are probably paying attention to, and it's quite obvious to see how significantly down these cases are. The good thing is we're definitely starting to see a little bit of a recovery with the glove case here, which is quite unusual for the summertime. If we head back to summer of 2021, we saw a lot of prices slip as we came off of that bubble, and they really took a long time to recover, some of which didn't really recover until we got into September, and then Operation Riptide hit and they fell down in price once again. In my opinion, we're seeing a much stronger CSGO market here with not only the resurgence of CSGO majors, which is definitely a very good thing for the game during the summertime, that people have something to look forward to, but along with the fact that we've got that 10-year anniversary, which is keeping a lot more people in the loop with CSGO than I think we would usually have during this time. Even though the player numbers aren't super outstanding, we're not seeing a ton of people leaving the game, which is really good, but it's for one main reason of the Valve operation cycle. Operation Broken Fang ended in May, and you can see here that there was a ton of people leaving during the months of May, June, and July, whereas if we look now, there was definitely some people leaving in March, which was roughly the first month without no operation, but you can see here that it is a significantly less of an impact when we get towards the summer month, when CSGO really starts to fall off no matter what. When you combine that with the fact that we really didn't see a summer peak, which is really good considering a lot of people get burned during those and a lot of people get turned away afterwards because the market goes down so significantly, that I think a lot of people are staying more in touch with the game, which is really good for investors and really good for the game moving forward. If CSGO wants to be very prominent in the future, it does need to have a decent amount of people playing it year round, which in most cases is decent enough the way it is right now. And finally, to wrap up with the cases here, even though we've seen a decrease in price for a decent amount of things, I do still think there are some things that are overpriced, which in my opinion is a really good indicator that there is still a functioning market here. If we see everything at market price, we start to get into that risky territory where we might start to see people undercutting each other and the market prices of a lot of things starting to slip very quickly as people cause a lot of panic. In my opinion, I do like to see some things that are still overpriced and some things that are underpriced, because it shows that there's still a decent amount of interest there, but also there's still a decent amount of opportunity for people to get in. After that, we've got the Antwerp numbers that I want to go over pretty briefly here. Now, I did this a day or two ago at this point, but the numbers were a little bit more shocking than I expected it to be. We're starting to see a significant fall off in the percentage return for a lot of capsules, which is not necessarily a good thing, but something we expected to happen. In my opinion, it's good that it's starting to happen this late into the sale, because this is something with Stockholm we saw it decently early, but here we can see that there is still a couple capsules that are sitting at a decent return. You've got your contenders and your challengers both sitting at higher than you would get opening up a traditional case, but that's to be expected. The Legends is sitting at around 66%, which is right where I expect most of these capsules to level out at, but it's no surprise seeing that the Legends got there first, considering it is the most open capsule out of any of these. And speaking of capsules, I also want to talk about the Stockholm capsules, because we're starting to see a decent amount of decrease in prices with the Stockholm capsules, which I'm just going to chalk up to Impatient Stockholmers. A lot of people have not invested into a CSGO major capsule before and made profit. A lot of people invested into RMR as their first actual major investment. I do consider it a major investment just because of how everything was portrayed, but nonetheless, I still think that we've seen a lot of people that are way too impatient with their actual investment and don't understand the fact that these are a long-term hold. You're not going to be able to flip these in a couple months most of the time. This has led the price of these capsules to just continuously be slipping and slipping until we get down to a point where they're going to reach a height, because a lot of people feel that they're undervalued and the price is going to shoot up relatively quickly. It's not something super unusual, it's just a little bit more disappointing to see that even though Stockholm was considerably underinvested, in the words of some other people, we're still seeing a lot of investments or a lot of people who hold Stockholm super impatient on where their profit's going to come from. It's not really anything good or bad, just an observation and a little bit more disappointing than I would have expected it to be. After that, we've got M4A4 skins returning to a very similar price point of what they were before we got the M4A1S nerf, which really wasn't too much of a nerf. This one is once again to be expected. I didn't think that prices were going to be falling almost all the way down to what they were originally. As you can see with the Emperor here, there was a point where it was the exact same before and after. So people like me who invested in were able to sell, get a decent amount of profit. But there's a lot of people that lost out because of with every buyer, there's a seller, and the amount of money I just made is the amount of money someone else has lost. So it's a little bit disappointing to see people getting burned on that, but it is to be expected in my opinion. I still think that there is going to be something in the future that's going to swing the balance between these two, whether that comes in the form of switching the prices, which I think would be the most effective way. I still am very surprised that the M4A1S is $200 cheaper when you're getting a better gun in my opinion. But I can definitely understand the thought process without actually having to buff the M4A4, but rather just slightly reducing the M4A1S. If you want to make the two guns uneven, that's completely fine and put them at different price ranges. But in this case, I still think that they are still the exact same gun in terms of versatility and damage. Still slightly benefits the M4A1S, so I don't understand why the M4A1S is still at a cheaper price point. And then finally, to wrap up, I want to talk a little bit about the future of CSGO. Now, I briefly foreshadowed it earlier, but CSGO is coming up on its 10-year anniversary, and it's really interesting, at least in my opinion, to see what the possibilities are for an actual update during that time. I am personally still leaning towards the possibility of an operation, which could potentially give you a lot of profit if you're ready for it and you actually know what you're doing, which I suggest you check out one of my past videos where I talked about it. But overall, I think an operation is what the game desperately needs at this point, because the cycle that they have currently ongoing, where we have an operation during the busiest time of CSGO, or the time that people are going to be playing no matter what, is slightly inefficient in my opinion. I think the operations should be starting around the end of the summer sale if Valve wanted to pretty much optimize the heck out of it, because they're going to be bringing in tons of people that wouldn't usually play the game during this time. But as we get into the winter months in North America, where we're talking about the September, October, people are still going to be able to play the operation, and yet you're still going to be able to cash in on all those people that couldn't play during the summer. Now, in my opinion, I'm not sure if I really would want this, but I do see the potential economic impact of it for Valve. They're going to be making a lot of money during a time that CSGO, generally speaking, does not have a ton of interest, so it could be something that they use in the future. But as always, guys, I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.